and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lon. Since there's no approval of the minutes, we'll move. The matters from the audience, anyone wishing to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, please come forward. You can podium begin when you're ready. Anybody here that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move. I'm going to read we're going to talk about a little housekeeping items, so to speak. The next agenda item, item D, is a public hearing concerning from the Arantine Hills Development Project. Before we receive a report from the city staff on this project, that's probably one of the things I want to go over with you. And one of the things that's important that we give an opportunity for everyone to speak. We'll start with the city staff members to give their report. Then after the staff member gives a report, we're going to give time for the opponent, which is the developer, Mr. Sherwood, a chance to come up here and kind of respond back to the city. Then after that, then we'll open up public hearing, and I want to make sure that everyone who wants to speak fill out a blue card and turn over to the secretary over there. And one of the things we do have is we have a 3-minute time limit for the public hearing. You'll have basically a light up there. It's a green light, which is basically 3 minutes. You have the green light, and until you get to the last 30 seconds, you'll have a yellow light. And once the red hits, it's 3 minutes and your time is up. The other thing we want to do is, since we do have quite a few people that want to speak on the matter, we want to give the opportunity to everyone to talk, so we want to kind of make sure we're following that. The other thing is, if anybody's giving their talk, they finish their talk, please no clapping or hollering or yelling in favor of or not in favor of. So we'll go from there. So once everybody's done with the public speaking, we'll close it. Then after we receive the public comment, we'll bring staff up to respond back to the comments. We do keep notes up here. Staff also keeps notes, so everybody has to respond to some of the questions that the audience brings up. Again, please, we want to make this as courteous, and we want everybody to be heard and want to run and respect the chambers. So that said, what I'd like to do is open up to the agenda item for D1. Terry, would you like to come up? And since, by the way, since all these, as she comes up, since it's all related to the same matter, we're going to go through the whole agenda at one time.
Good evening, Commissioners. Items D1 through D5 are in the order on the agenda that you will be acting on them tonight. I will be presenting those in a little bit different sequence simply because they flow better as we start with the specific plan amendment, which constitutes the project description. And then I will move from that to the general plan amendment, the resubmitted map, the supplemental environmental impact report, and then finally concluding with the development agreement. Items D1 through D5 all relate to a proposal by the new home company to revise the master plan known as Arantine Hills. The subject site is located southwest of Interstate 15 at Cahalco Road and south of Eagle Glen Parkway. This slide shows a context of the area. You can see the Arantine Hills area is outlined in yellow, and you can see predominantly developed land to the northwest, to the northeast and east, and to the southeast is unincorporated county Riverside area, and directly to the south is unincorporated county known as the Retreat. To the southwest would be the Eagle Glen Golf Course. This is referred to as an infill piece of land simply because most of the land surrounding it is developed to some degree or other, and this has remained developed. over the years. This slide shows a comparison between the existing land use plan that is approved for the Arantine Hills project site. The approved plan is shown on the left, and the proposed plan by the new home company is shown on the right. The existing land use plan was approved in 2012, and the proponent at the time was Bluestone Communities. In about 2014, Bluestone Communities sold the property, 276 acres, to the new home company. And the new home company formulated a new land use plan based on the anticipated market demand. The revised plan features land uses of lesser intensity than the current plan that exists today. The plan on the left, again, I want to emphasize, is the currently entitled plan. This is what could be developed today should the new home company decide to develop, to meet the requirements that were placed on that original plan, such as the improvement of the Cajalco interchange and various other conditions of approval. But the point is, this is what is entitled today. And New Home could build this today if they chose to do so. I will be talking in detail in just a moment about the interchange, the Cajalco interchange improvements, and as they relate to the development agreement. But it is important to understand that the current entitlement is more intense than what is being proposed by New Home this evening. To highlight the changes that are proposed in the land use plan, the existing plan on the left shows general commercial outlined it's highlighted in the red, and that is near Bedford Canyon Road, just off the Cajalco exit. The red represents 38 acres of general commercial. The lavender and the blue are mixed land uses, which would accommodate a mixture of commercial and residential, and a mixture of commercial and light industrial or business park. Now these combined, the two mixed-use designations combined, total more than about 40 acres, and then also provide for 459 dwelling units in a mixed-use format. In addition, the current plan provides for low, medium, and high-density residential units, and those are outlined on the land use plan as the orange color and the lighter yellow color, and then the brown color. There are two planning areas with the high density. Altogether, those existing planning areas would equate to 1,170 units, dwelling units, on just under 130 acres. The existing plan also provides for 4 parks. Those are indicated in green on the land use plan, and then the lighter green would be natural open space areas that are related to the Bedford Canyon Wash. The total unit count in the current entitlement for Arantine Hills is 1,621 units, with another 185 that could be age restricted. The proposed land use plan is shown on the right, and again, you will see that general commercial is located closer to the Bedford Canyon Road, Eagle Glen Parkway access. The acreage of the general commercial is being reduced from 38 acres down to 10 acres. And the 10 acres is comparable to what exists in the existing Eagle Glen Commercial Center, which is about 15.5 acres. So the 38 acres of general commercial was an ambitious undertaking by Bluestone on their original land use plan. The proposed change will back that down to what seems to be more supportable by more market forces. Both of the mixed-use types you will see are being eliminated. The mixed-use commercial residential and the commercial business park are being completely eliminated. The revised plan does provide for the same number of dwelling units, 1,621, with 185 age restricted. However, they are dispersed across the land use plan in a lower density. So rather than being clustered in high density and medium density, they're being spread across the site for more low and medium density. The high density units are reduced from 621 units to 514. The medium density units are being increased from 461 to 720, and the low density units are increased from 88 to 387. Park acreage is still provided in the plan, although it is being reduced from about 15 acres to 8.7, and redesignated from public parks to private parks. I'm going to talk about parks in a little more detail in just a moment. The general open space increases from over 36 acres to just under 57 acres. And this is because of the revisions in the plan that provide for more preservation of natural open space related to the Bedford Canyon Wash. This is a comparison table, and I believe it's in the DA staff report, and it breaks down each land use designation and how it is changing from the existing plan on the left to the proposed plan on the right. And once again, you'll see the bottom line numbers. The number of dwelling units will remain at 1621 plus age restricted. And then the original square footage of commercial and industrial that was anticipated at 745,300 square feet is being reduced to 80,000 square feet. And that is over 665,000 square feet of reduced building area for those land uses. I'll jump to the general plan amendment very quickly. This shows the same comparison between the existing general plan for the Arantine Hills site and then also the proposed plan, which is shown to the bottom of this particular slide. It is required that the general plan and the implementing zoning, which would be in this case the specific plan, that they be consistent. So this general plan amendment is accompanying. I'll jump to the general plan amendment very quickly. This shows the same comparison between the existing general plan for the Arantine Hills site and then also the proposed plan, which is shown to the bottom of this particular slide. It is required that the general plan and the implementing zoning, which would be in this case the specific plan, that they be consistent. So this general plan amendment is accompanying the specific plan amendment in order to maintain that consistency. This slide illustrates the open space areas that are associated with the proposed plan. And I just want to spend a moment focusing on the revision to the project's parks and open space plan. It is important to emphasize that every development has to provide for park and recreation opportunities for the new residents that will be living in that development. Statutory requirements are for either the dedication of public parkland or the payment of fees that would be utilized to create benefits and upgrades for parks on a broader scale. Where the original approved Arantine Hills plan made provision for public parks, the dedication of public parkland, the revised plan provides for these private parks, but will also be accompanied by approximately $9 million in lieu fees that this developer is going to be paying. And that will be used for upgrades to parks that already exist in the city that are in need of facility upgrades. So in addition to the private parks that are going to be serving the residents that will live here, the public benefit is going to be the $9 million contribution that will benefit other parks in the city. And then just a little bit of detail on some of the concepts for the private parks. The staff report shows these the specific plan amendment shows these concepts. They will ultimately be evaluated through a precise plan process in the future. But these show the concepts of what is intended for these parks. And it's in planning areas 4 and 7. These equate to approximately 3 and 4 acres. There's also a mini park of 1 acre that would be in one of the planning areas in the southern portion of the city, or the specific plan, sorry. In terms of vehicle circulation, this slide is in the specific plan amendment, and it shows the circulation plan throughout the Arantine Hills plan, and this is the proposed. There isn't a dramatic difference from what was originally proposed by Bluestone in that there were 2 access points off of Eagle Glen Parkway, connected by a spine road for the length of the project, which also extends down to the southern perimeter to provide future access to that property to the south of the subject site. Street A is shown aligned with Bedford Canyon Road, and that's shown in purple. And then Street C is a little further south up the Eagle Glen grade for the second point of access. The Spine Road Street B also features a bike path, and I will get to that in the next slide, but I want to point out one thing first before we leave this slide. On the very right-hand side, you will see Planning Area 14, and that is the plateau up on the bluff that is adjacent to the 15 freeway. You will see a point of connection there that is referred to as Street D and Street E. In a couple of slides, I will be showing a cross-section of how that access will work. That is a single point of access to that planning area, and it has been evaluated by the fire department. The original plan for Planning Area 14, that is currently what is approved, was for 475 high-density residential units on that plateau. New Home Company is coming in with a downscaled plan that will have 167 medium-density units on that plateau. That was one factor in the fire department's evaluation of the access point there off of Street A. I also want to point out that there is no provision for circulation between the Arantine Hills site in this Planning Area 14 or in any other planning area that would go through the county, unincorporated county, to the south. There is no provision for that. This is an exhibit in the specific plan amendment that shows the bicycle circulation. Off of the 2 streets off of Eagle Glen Parkway, Street A and Street C, you will see 2 bike lanes, and these are Class 2 bike lanes that are in the pavement on both sides of the street. And then you will see along the Spine Road, the green, which is on the south side. This is for the full distance of the Spine Road B Street. It's a bike path that is separated from the vehicle traffic, and it's referred to as a Class 1 bike trail. You can see in the bottom right of this particular exhibit, there is a cross-section of that bike path. It's 8 feet minimum. New Home Company has designed this plan so that this is publicly accessible. Even though there will be, they have proposed gating of the streets for private streets, and that would occur at some point to be final engineered along A Street and C Street. There would still be pedestrian and bike access portals through those gates so that the public can access and enjoy this bike path as it is designed, and it would be located very near or along the Bedford Canyon Wash as an amenity. This slide indicates the construction phasing. New Home Company intends to start the construction in the very center of the site. This is a little different from the original Bluestone plan, which would have started at the north and proceeded to the south, or northeast to the southwest. New Home Company intends to initiate construction in the middle of the site, and this would allow for public to come off of C Street, get to the model complex, get to any new occupied homes, while construction traffic could be concentrated on the northernmost street, which has the greater capacity. Phase 2 is shown in the green, and then also the final phase, the third phase, is shown in kind of the brown along the southerly portion. The development standards have been formulated based on a new concept for the residential portion that features a compact design that has predetermined widths and depths that can accommodate low, medium, or high-density clusters in modules. They can include townhomes, row homes, detached homes, or attached in duplex, triplex, or what is known as 4-pack, 6-pack, or 8-pack groupings. They can have paseos and common green courts, or they could have private fenced areas, private yards. This slide and the next two show the potential groupings of this type of a home design. And this shows the high-density residential with the paseos. This shows high density with no paseos, which would feature basically fenced private areas between the units, accessed from a common drive. And then this shows a medium density, similar design, but a little less dense in terms of larger yard areas, but still accessed off the courtyards. And there are also paseos and without paseos in this particular configuration as well. It is important to understand that each of the planning areas will be coming back for further evaluation. They are required to go through a precise plan accompanied by a merchant builder subdivider map. These will be public hearings that will come back through this body just as any other precise plan does at this time. So we will be seeing these planning areas again coming through. This is a concept of what the entry will look like into the master plan project from Eagle Glen Parkway. It's revised somewhat from the original approved plan. It's downscaled, I think, a little bit in terms of its tree type. I think that the original plan had wanted to put orchard type trees. These are specimen trees with a stone low wall, meandering low wall, and then this would also be reflected at the secondary entry off of C Street and Eagle Glen Parkway. This is also subject to further evaluation when these come through with future precise plans. This is the slide that I was referring to a moment ago, which has the two parallel streets, D Street and E Street. You can see in the top graphic there that they are parallel. Now, Street D is the daily traffic access route to the plateau with single drive lanes plus bike lanes in both directions. Parallel to it and separated by a decorative barrier is Street E, which is essentially an emergency roadway. The original plan that is in existence now showed a second point of access across Bedford Canyon Wash. If you look at the topography just driving by, that is not a viable, feasible access to create a second point of access for this particular plateau. So again, the fire department has evaluated this side-by-side access to planning area 14 and finds that it is acceptable and based on the lower density that's being proposed by New Home Company. The specific plan amendment does not feature any changes to the design concepts for the architecture. Those will remain the same, and I believe there was a wide variety of anything from the Spanish to even farmhouse. So there was a wide variety of architecture that could be implemented through this project still. Now, switching to the tentative tract map, this is a resubmitted map, which is basically the master map for the subject site. This creates 10 lots that the master developer can sell to merchant builders. These lots coincide with the planning areas in the specific plan amendment. They range in area from 5.52 acres to 48 acres. The map will record in one phase. Although the construction will occur in 3 phases, the map will record in one phase. And I want to talk about the supplemental environmental impact report. These are a lot of bullet points, but I didn't want to miss any evaluation that has occurred. with respect to this proposed project. The Supplemental Environmental Impact Report has been prepared in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. This is a supplement to the EIR that was prepared for the original plan that was certified in 2012. The supplemental EIR outlined a comparison between the approved project and the potential impacts that could arise from the revised project. Most of the environmental impacts remained unchanged or are being identified. Based on that revised analysis, it concluded that up to 308 residential units can be constructed before mitigation measures pertinent to the interchange are warranted. However, after the construction of the 308 residential units, there's an interim period of significant and unavoidable impacts that were identified in the supplemental EIR that relate to intersections along Masters Drive, as well as the Cajalco Road intersections with the I-15 northbound and on and off ramps, until such time as all the slated improvements to the regional roadways, such as Foothill Parkway Westerly Extension and the Cajalco interchange, are completed and operational. At that time, when those are fully operational, then full mitigation will be realized. So the period of significant and unavoidable impact is for an interim period only. It is not an ultimate condition. In terms of water supply, there is a slight increase in water demand because lower density residential has a higher per capita water demand than higher density because the land area associated with it is more spread out and there's more exterior demand for potable water. The analysis that was done on the water supply was based on the city's urban water management plan dated 2010. It concluded that the city has sufficient water supplies to support the project as revised. Mitigation measures that prescribe aggressive water conservation efforts carry forward from the original certified EIR to this supplemental. And those will be carried out through through project design, and then also reinforced by the ordinances of the city which call for water conservation. The revised project evaluated impacts for the Bedford Canyon Wash, and it evaluated how much of the acreage would be affected temporarily and permanently in terms of the displacement of any kind of habitat. The mitigation measures call for either restoration or fees to pay for that to be provided for in another location. That's all detailed in the supplemental EIR. The floodplain mapping is required. The site is believed to be through a floodplain, but that will all be analyzed through hydraulics. There is the technical analysis that is in the SEIR, but additional work will be required in order for the FEMA to map the area for floodplain purposes. Public comments received on the draft supplemental environmental impact report will be responded to in writing and will be included in the final supplemental EIR. That will go to the City Council along with the findings and the statement of overriding considerations. And then finally, the development agreement. Development Agreement 15001 is proposed in conjunction with the Arantine Hills Specific Plan Amendment and has been negotiated over a period of time between the city's management and legal team and that of the developers. The DA term is for 10 years with up to 2 5-year extensions based on the fulfillment of obligations that are outlined in that agreement. The terms of the agreement will allow construction to proceed in limited fashion while infrastructure construction is underway. And this would be in terms of the number of dwelling units. 308 dwelling units are identified in the DA as being able to be constructed as the infrastructure is constructed. to be funded through fair share fee payments. This includes infrastructure related to water storage, sewer lines and lift stations, and then traffic signals. Although there are a number of traffic signals that the developer is obligated for, and those are outlined in detail in the environmental impact report, 2 are covered in the development agreement. And that is because they are to be constructed prior to the point in time where the EIR says that they would be necessary. In other words, it's accelerating, the DA is accelerating the installation of those traffic signals. And the 2 that I'm referring to in this context is one at Georgetown and Bedford Canyon Road and another at Masters Drive in California. The agreement addresses the Cajalco interchange. The city is the lead agency in the Cajalco interchange project, which involves the reconstruction of the interchange with new alignment for the overpass and a provision of 6 traffic. This is to post the site, to publish in the newspaper. And not only do we mail directly to the 300-foot radius, we mail directly to a 500-foot radius. And we also post on the city's website. We go above and beyond, we believe, in making every effort to make sure that public notices are carried out, not just in this instance, but in every instance where we come before the Planning Commission as we are tonight. Each staff report tonight in items D1 through D5 contain the findings that are necessary for approval. Staff has outlined those findings in relation to our general plan and all the requirements in the code. And we recommend approval of items D1 through D5 based on those recommendations and the findings and the conditions of approval that were also appended to your staff report. This concludes my presentation. Unless there are any questions, the project applicant team is here in full force tonight. They can answer questions as well as city staff.
Thank you, Terry. Would like to bring up the developer, John Sherwood, please. Go ahead for the record, state your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Sherwood, Vice President of Community Development for the new home company. We're 85 Enterprise in Aliso Viejo. It's great to be before you after a long period of great work with all of your staff on what we think is a vastly improved project given the times we're in today. I'd like to thank all the staff and point out their advocacy for the city, their skill at planning, and the benefit to us of coming into Corona and working with a full-service city. It's really been fruitful for us. I want to give special thanks to Terry for obvious reasons. Her presentation is very thorough. She covers all the facts. She produced 5 huge documents that you're looking at tonight. And she's always provided us great insight into our project. Also, the management and attorney team, including Jamie Raymond, we've probably produced at least 20 versions of the development agreement during our negotiations. And it's been a lot of work for all of us to get all the facts right. So we appreciate that. I know you've got a lot of documents to review, and Terry covered a lot of our topics, but I did want to also let you know, go ahead, that a technical team is here for us, our engineering team, our biology and design team, as well as our land use attorney. So if there are questions we can help with, our team's ready to do that. And we're excited to be in Corona. This is a new market, a new opportunity for the new home company. We've been in existence since about 2009. And we've built a pretty strong reputation as home builders and master planners. Our team's got a lot of experience in both regards. I put on this slide a lot of the Community of the Year awards that we've won over the past 5 years. And we're proud that a relevant award came in this year, which was the Master Plan of the Year for the Cannery in Davis. That's a project that's about 800 homes. And it's in an area in the city that's very concerned about environmental protection. Terry outlined some of the history of Arantine Hills that started in 2012. Our involvement with the site began in 2014, and we've been working since that time You've seen the 2012 approved plan, but I just wanted to kind of summarize the high-level thinking about this plan. If you come to 30,000 feet, it's got a lot of high-density residential development, and it's got a lot of large commercial and mixed-use opportunities. So we looked at this plan, and there were 5 questions we asked ourselves from a land planning perspective. Does the plan have the right mix of densities to build a successful community? Does high-density residential zoning, including 3-story family apartments, make sense on the bluff-top piece of planning area 14? Does the central spine road maximize open space and public trail opportunities? Does almost 750,000 square feet of commercial make sense to the market? And would there be major traffic impacts associated with this level of development? And given the conditions that were on the property when we purchased, how can we develop options for Calco I-15 to make up for a lack of federal and state funding that could pay for upgrades at that interchange? What we also do as master planners is a lot of due diligence and market research. This includes scientific studies on geology, biology, etc. Demographics, including community trends, potential likely residents, and local shopping habits. We did also begin our analysis with a professional focus group. This was 12 people from Eagle Glen that we had dinner and talked with for about 3 hours to get some perspective on their community from the very beginning. We talked also with several business owners in and around the project, and of course met with city representatives to really get background on the project. The big component that was our next step was community outreach. There are a lot of presentations and meetings I outlined on this slide. We had 3 separate letters that were sent to the 1,400 residents of Eagle Glen, all updating them on the various stages of our project during development of our concepts. We actually walked door to door for 215 homes in August. I apologize for that. 59 of those folks up to 215 actually talked with our staff, to get feedback and to make sure they were aware of the opportunities we were pursuing. We met with the Eagle Glen HOA on 3 different occasions and talked about their issues and opportunities in conjunction with our property. We had coffee and home visits with some of the residents that are to the south of us in Temescal Valley. And we met with the city's infrastructure committee 2 times in January and June of 2015. That led us to a community open house, which was also in June. And this again was mailed and actually was hand delivered to the 1,400 residents in Eagle Glen. We had all our technical experts at that meeting, and over 100 people were in attendance asking us questions and getting feedback about our design plan. The meetings continued with Chamber, Association of Realtors, and all the folks that touched the project to really get a full cross-section of opportunity. We also instituted ArantineHills.com in April of 2015, and the most current stats are over 10,000 unique hits on that site. We've received 35 emails, and we're happy that 12 of those asked to be added to our interest list for future homes in our community. Here's a summary of what we heard, and it goes along with the changes you've already heard about to our plan. We heard about decreased density, we heard about eliminating apartments, we heard about increasing open space, reducing traffic, and fixing Calco. So with all of those elements under our belt, we developed a plan that's requested tonight, and it's our amended plan. It answers our 5 questions, and it culminates in the design that results from the input from the community. On the residential front, you can see that we reduced mixed-use and high-density residential units by over 500, while increasing low-density residential homes by almost 300. And we committed early on to eliminating family apartments as an allowable use in the plan. when we talk about the bluff top parcel that was zoned or is zoned for 475 high-density homes with apartments, we reduced that to medium-density, 167 homes, no apartments, as well as an internal park and an open space buffer that's between 50 and 100 feet along the southern edge of the site to provide that landscape screening for our neighbors. The Spine Road created an opportunity for a more meaningful public multi-use trail. It now runs right along the edge of the natural open space where the Bedford Canyon Wash will be located. This is an experience that we think is far superior to the central spine that ran through the old plan. Increase in open spaces over 55 acres. We're also working right now on the Bedford Wash in conjunction with the resource agencies to develop that wash as a soft bottom channel that's far superior in terms of aesthetics than the once contemplated concrete box channel. So that's a restoration project. It helps us to maximize the opportunity of that open space and still maintain full functioning flood control. The biggest lift of all, I think, is the commercial changes to the site. Went from 745,000 square feet of regional serving, mall type uses, high traffic generators, noise impacts, parking situation, to a much more reasonable neighborhood serving 80,000 square foot retail center. This is complementary to the 100,000 square foot center across the street at the Village at Eagle Glen where the Stater Brothers is located. It's zoned and sized to accommodate specialty grocery stores, potential use based on the market. We think there are opportunities here for connectivity to that center and walkability across the street for multiple shopping trips for the locals that again, minimize traffic and maximize the community feel of the neighborhood. The key point to all that is the reduction of almost 11,000 vehicle trips per day. I wanted to figure out a way to get that in my mind, and the best thing I could think of was Staples Center seats about 22,000 people. So if each of us carpooled with one person to a Clipper game, that would be about 11,000 cars. So that's the number of cars that comes off the road every day with our plan. And with this reduction, we talked about this before, the plan could now accommodate up to 308 single-family homes before the interchange starts. That's based on input, data, and review within the city's traffic model with our consultant. It's in your EIR, and it spells out very clearly that impacts do not occur until that 309th single-family home comes on board. Then you'll see an impact and detrimental level of service. These charts have been used throughout our process to kind of demonstrate how a level of service might occur given the hypothetical situation as to when funding was available. The top chart basically shows that without our project, the level of service continues to deteriorate as the line goes up from level of service D past level of service F. At that point, in a hypothetical situation of 2026, which is a 10-year time frame from now that we have been told might be a chance for funding to be available, obviously construction occurs and the level of service improves. If you contrast that to the blue table on the bottom with our advanced funding proposal and the current state of plans that the city can elaborate on, construction could begin as early as 2017. If that was to occur, there'd be an immediate impact during that window of 2017 to 2019 until the interchange is done. Then you see the level drop all the way down to a level of service B minus, and never reach the same level it was before because, again, those 11,000 car trips are now gone. So all this analysis really helped us develop opportunities for the development agreement and the funding of the interchange. In addition to this, the plan outlines several different levels of neighborhood traffic improvements that again are designed to be ahead of our development in terms of impact. We've agreed to front load several improvements, including Georgetown and Bedford, as well as California and Masters, because these were seen in the city's traffic modeling as being significant thoroughfares that residents are using now. So again, we're trying to be out in front of the opportunity to make improvements inside the terms of the development agreement. To summarize our points once again, I think our plan is improved in all these aspects. From a residential perspective, we eliminated apartments, we've reduced high density. From an open space and trails perspective, we've created a multi-use trail that's over 1.36 miles and is fully accessible to the public. We've increased open space, we've reduced commercial land, we've retained a small shopping opportunity for local residents. We've taken a huge bite out of traffic and provided an opportunity for the city to deliver Cahalco interchange at no cost to taxpayers, with other funding available for traffic improvements that come online early. To summarize then, I'd like to just ask you to think about your package. I know it's extensive. It's 5 separate staff reports. There are over 150 conditions of approval required by the city. Supplement EIR will include mitigation measures as well as response to comments for the public and resource agencies to comment on. There's a 50-page development agreement in your package. And these all contribute, I think, to the serious nature of the plan that we've undertaken, the effort we've made with the city, and our enthusiasm really for the project on every level. So we support what the staff has put before you in all their recommendations for approval, and we would ask that you move in that direction. Our team's here. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sherwood. Let's bring it back to the members. Just for staff or for the developer? Yeah, we'll go ahead and wait for the public hearing. Do you have any questions for staff at all? No. Okay. That said, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. So we're going to bring it to the commissioners to go ahead and ask the developer.
Okay, I have a question regarding
Come on up, John.
the path that comes out over to the 120-something mile path. I want to find out how
Microphone.
How the parking is there.
Microphone.
Oh, I can't hear. Okay, that's better. I want to find out how the path works with parking and how people will access the path once they're in the development.
The path is really meant to be a locally serving path for our residents as well as locals in Eagle Glen. So it's not parked per se, it's accessible via bike or walking.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I have a question. You spoke a little bit about the flood control issue with respect to the salt bottom channel, and I guess there's the 3 options set forth in the SEIR, and is that the second enumerated option? And I'm just wondering what the process will be going forward as far as your interactions with the resource agencies and what the Commission's role will be, if any, going forward with the flood control issues.
Thanks for asking for clarification. Option 3 in your specific plan is the option we're pursuing.
Okay.
partly based on feedback we got initially from the agencies. They much prefer a restoration opportunity, so the channel got wider in order to slow down the flows. That process is ongoing right now with the agencies based on environmental impacts to address the prior project, because we did also have a soft bottom channel with a different configuration. So in terms of your involvement, there really wouldn't be any per se. It's a resource agency approval, and then it's the County of Orange and your Public Works Department that will be a joint reviewer of those plans. I don't believe those come to the plan commission.
But it is option 3 then, that's the chosen method.
I have one more question regarding the parks. I understand that the public will not be allowed access to the parks in the community. Is that true?
That's true. The HOA, Home Association, will own the parks.
Okay.
We haven't configured them precisely in terms of key fob access or things of that sort. But if there's a pool or something of that nature, it would be for the private residents' use.
Okay.
From what I understand, obviously, you're offsetting with those Quimby fees. It's up so we can fund other parks that are out there. The other question is, what's your estimated time completing the Alpha Bridge?
I would defer to Nelson on that. We work closely with him on it, but he's got the most up-to-date information there.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's all I have for right now. Thank you. Let's go ahead and bring up the public business. I'm going to call up a couple of names so you can line up. I'm going to talk with Robert Hafner and Patty Romo. We'll start with Robert.
Hello, my name is Bob Hafner. I live in Temescal Valley. I do appreciate New Homes with some of the decisions they made. It was definitely helps on low density. But the thing I want to bring to the mayor's board is, first of all, the question was asked when the bridge was going to be completed, and we didn't hear a date. I heard several people in the back, so if at a break, I want to keep to my 3 minutes, you please answer that before the next person comes up, because a few people did ask. Second of all, the traffic in that area already, after living out in this area for a long time, is already high. I mean, even before one house, the groundbreaking's done, it's high. That's why I'm very much opposed to waiting at all. I appreciate his acceleration time, but it needs to be done now. I mean, I'll give you my perfect example, driving to work today. I live down by Indian Truck Trail, I go up to Harupa, took 70 minutes. And the reason it took 70 minutes, you have a massive humanity going to the 2 high schools and all the middle schools that are cluttering the roads. We also got all these people going up Cajalco to all those shops and everything. Also, the environmental plan here didn't have, in the original plan back in 2012, all the apartments that have been approved on Dos Lagos. When you start looking down the 15 corridor, there's been a huge amount of add-on homes and apartments. Look at Wyrick Road, look at Dos Lagos. I'll even pick in my area, not just say in the city, we got, Terra Moore going in. There's a huge amount of residents. I mean, I'm positive people like where we're at, they want to move out there, but the problem is we need to get that infrastructure in, and that's my concern. It gets into safety, it gets into all the items above. So the one thing I want to stress here is I realize development's going to come. I understand that. But please, 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 and I can't say it enough times, put the infrastructure in first. It would make his development a lot easier. Think about trying to get his products in, his resource materials, to widening that channel. If I got a nice wide road where I'm not buffering up against the people coming from Eagle Glen or from the mall. So it's a win-win for everybody. Put the infrastructure in, allow that to happen. It'll make for that development flow. As someone I heard point out prior to the meeting started, look at $1 billion going on the 91. I got 30 seconds here. On the 91, look all the things that's creating for nightmares for you. I look everything when I came over from where I work straight down Hidden Valley to where all these apartments by Mr. Ganal is. I mean, you've got so much congestion in here, we need to improve the infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Again, Patty Romo, and I'd like to also bring up Barbara Paul.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Patty Romo. I'm here to represent Riverside County Transportation Department. I'm the Assistant Director for the Transportation Department. The County of Riverside has reviewed the EIR and specific plan and is pleased to see that the specific plan has eliminated the road connection to the south at Wyrick Road. It was not appropriate to route the traffic to this mainly steep, private, narrow, and mainly an improved road. We request that this approach continue as the project moves forward. After a focused meeting with the project applicant and the city, we were pleased to hear that the Bedford Canyon Wash Trail would be retained. The trail will offer an opportunity to protect connectivity with other planned regional trails east of I-15. The one outstanding item that has not been resolved and is a source of considerable concern is the additional traffic that will burden an already overwhelmed Temescal Canyon Road. Temescal Canyon Road is a key north-south regional artery for Temescal Valley. It stretches for nearly 20 miles from Lake Elsinore to the south to Corona to the north. It serves as a key alternative road when I-15 is congested due to incidents or just daily commuter traffic. Although the traffic study estimates that a nominal amount of Arantine Hills traffic will utilize Temescal Canyon Road, the county believes its estimate is well understated. The county agrees that the completion of the Foothill Parkway project and the addition of HOV lanes on I-15 will provide traffic relief for the area. However, the county believes that traffic study estimates on Temescal Canyon Road are underestimated. The Temescal Canyon Road serves as the primary access to the community for parents taking their children to and from El Cerrito Middle School, the only middle school that will serve the new Arantine Hills development. Temescal Road, Canyon Road is also used as access from the south to El Cerrito Sports Park and the El Cerrito Branch Library. And during freeway incidents, which occur on a regular basis, Temescal Canyon Road serves as alternate to the freeway. Temescal Canyon Road is only 2 lanes. There is a need to widen the road to 4 lanes, consistent with the city and county general plan, and in fact, an urgency to widen the road due to the significant traffic backups occurring. The county has initiated a project to widen Temescal Canyon Road, including the portion between Corona Crossings and El Cerrito. We request that the city and project applicant work with the county to determine appropriate contributions toward the widening of this segment of Temescal Canyon Road in order to accelerate improvement of this critical link. This would be of mutual benefit to the city and county in achieving its general plan objectives and would serve as an alternate to the freeway in emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Next one is Barbara Paul, and then Terry. Come on up for Rarity. Go ahead, Barbara.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Paul. I reside at 12035 Spanish Hills Drive, Temescal Valley. I'm on the east side of the freeway, above and behind the new Terramore project, closest to the Indian Truck Trail interchange, which, by the way, is a really good example of what the county has done to improve transportation ahead of it being needed. Terramore has not started building homes yet. They're doing the groundwork, but that infrastructure is in. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak today. The Temescal Valley is directly affected by the decisions that the City of Corona is making regarding the Arantine Hills project. There are many negative issues relating to this project, but I am here to address only the transportation issue. The City of Corona has lost a large percentage of tax revenue from my family because it is so difficult to go north just to get into your city, to spend my money shopping, eating out, going to movies, etc., etc. Instead, I go south to the city of Lake Elsinore, where they get most of my tax revenue and even beyond to Murrieta or Temecula. The city of Corona has allowed the crossings and Dos Lagos shopping centers to be built without improving the 15 Cajalco interchange. Why didn't the city of Corona plan ahead then and require the developers of those two shopping centers to make improvements to the 15 Cajalco interchange when those shopping centers were first built? In addition, please keep in mind that the new improvements to the southbound 15 freeway will end at Cajalco, making that interchange even worse in the near future. With all due respect, I'm asking you now, do the right thing. Don't let Corona's history repeat itself by making the same mistakes again regarding the 15 Cajalco interchange. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Terry, and behind Terry is Jonathan Schwartz.
Good evening. My name is Terry Moriarty. I live at 8145 Warwick Road, 92883. In the year 2005, I had a heart attack. After my heart attack, my doctor told me it was a good thing I got to the hospital as soon as I did, because I would not have made it much longer. Since I already had one heart attack, there's a good chance I'll have another. Will I make it to the hospital in time this time? I have my doubts. We have gridlock on our roads now. We have people driving down the medians and shoulders of the roads blocking access used by emergency vehicles. Many people can barely get out of their neighborhoods because of the congestion. The developer claims the new plan will remove 11,000 vehicles from the highway, when in actuality, it will actually add 18,000 vehicle trips per day. 18,000 more trips to an area where we already have gridlock. RCTC did a study over 2 years ago and rated the area between Warwick Road and El Cerrito an F on a scale of 8 to F. If I were one of you on the Planning Commission, I would have to think long and hard about a decision that could ultimately cost a heart attack or traffic accident victim their lives. This is not a matter of mere inconvenience. It's a matter of death, life and death, public safety. What if one of your family members doesn't make it to the hospital in time because of any fire or medical emergencies in the Arantine Hills community? In addition, with the reestablishment of the City of Corona Police Department presence at the City Corona Fire Station 7, the police response to any emergency on the Arantine Hills project should be less than 5 minutes. Therefore, there should be no need for any additional entrances or exits to the Arantine Hills project. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak.
Thank you, Terry. Let's bring up Jonathan, and also Tom Richens behind Jonathan Schwartz.
Well, my name is Jonathan Swart, and I'm a resident of Eagle Glen, and I appreciate this 3 minutes I have with you. Just want to express that not just traffic, as everyone else is talking about, but also once we have all these homes down in the Arantine area, there's going to be a water shortage. We're already being threatened with fines if we use more water than we were granted. With the extra water being used by these 1,600 plus homes and the construction of the businesses as well, the demand on the water in the area is just going to skyrocket. Right now, currently the open field is not adding to the drought or causing any extra burden on the city's water supply. With 308 homes, there's approximately 616 new cars, on average 1.9, so basically 2 cars per home. 616 new cars using the roads in the morning and at night, before and after work, before and after school, whatever it may be. And after the development is done, approximately or potentially over 3,200 new cars will be bogging down the area, causing traffic problems. Traffic currently backs up onto the I-15 south as it is waiting for the green light. When you get off the freeway there, that will only get worse as the traffic increases. I have personally seen where vehicles are completely stopped on the I-15 southbound in the far right lane because they can't go anywhere. Everyone's trying to get down, and most of those cars are being left to go towards the shopping center where the theater is, let alone that they are now going to be stopped trying to get both directions, at both east and west on that road. Accidents are most likely going to go up in this area, especially if that's where the I-15 widening project is going to come to an end right there at Calico as well. So all the traffic is going to be coming together, just causing that area more difficult. I bought my home up there 2 years ago this June, but we've been Corona residents. My wife bought her place here in 2002 or something like that, so we've been here for a long time for us. The Stater Brothers parking lot that is already pretty full, almost I'd say 80% capacity during most of the day. Come around 3 p.m. when the school starts getting out, the demand on the Calico exit increases to such a level that we literally are stopped. The traffic is backed up, an additional light and impact, an additional stoplight and impact on the flow of traffic in that traffic artery is only going to bottleneck the traffic even worse. And I'm curious on if they give you guys additional funds, or the Arantine New Homes Project is going to give money, at what interest rate is the city going to have to pay back the new homes? Where's this money going to come from? The signage is this. I do recognize that they put a sign up to let us know about it, but where they put the sign up was not accessible. It's right there when they come out of the parking lot. There's no spots here. You can't pull over and go read the signs. I recognize that they sent letters to people within 500 feet of the area. 500 feet isn't a lot when there's a ton of residents in the area. See, I'm out of time there, so I'll just end this with all the professional studies that were done, physically being in the community and seeing it is a big difference than scientific studies. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Tom, Rich has come up, and behind that is Dean.
Tom Richards, 1031 East Grand Boulevard, Corona, California. Just like to start off with a quick comment. I think Terry Manuel did an awesome job presenting. She is a great city worker, and the city of Corona is lucky to have her. Second, I think it's time we disqualify this developer. They're residential based. City of Corona is very heavy residential. We're not equal out in our commercial property. I think it's time we stick to a commercial development, cater to the commercial entrepreneurs, bringing some more business to Corona. More residential is not going to help us, it's going to hurt us. I was watching the presentation. We went from 38 acres of commercial down to 10 acres of commercial. The new homes people think that's a great idea. I think it's a horrible idea. I think we need to go to about 100 acres of commercial. That is where our future needs to go with the city. We're filled with homes. We're done with homes. So, last but not least, to mimic what the last speaker said, if there is going to be a $30 million loan for the bridge construction, I think we need to see the amortization and where the money comes from, how much is paid back, and what our liabilities, what our funding is. I think we need to see all the numbers there. Thank you.
Mark, Peabody. Before I start, so we knock out for 3 minutes. How many are here from Eagle Glen? Thank you. My name is Dan Heredia. I live in 4072 Stonebriar Circle in Eagle Glen. Been a homeowner since 2004, and I'm opposed to the project because I feel the developer in the city are reneging on the plan to replace the Calico Bridge before any homes are built. This is something that was pounded into me since this project came about. You have to realize too, this company has only been in existence since 2009. What do we know about it? I mean, we're dealing with a major funding issue to replace that bridge, which I was told is the bridge before homes. I went to the meeting at the Eagle Glen Clubhouse. I went to a meeting at Miguel's, and that was pounded and pounded and pounded that the bridge would go in before any homes are built. Now I understand that there's partial funding for the interchange. What use is the interchange if we don't have the bridge? Anyway, let's see. I also have a problem with the elimination of trails in the park. Arantine Hills promised promises for the homeowners and public, and now they are withdrawn because they are reducing their project sizes, and this is not a work of good faith. I feel the school district should be here also, letting us know how it's going to impact our schools. In closing, I'd like to read some quotes from our city leaders and staff taken from the Press Enterprise. This was on January 12, 15. From the developers, their time will be the biggest planned community built in Corona in at least 15 years. On 6/22/15, our city manager, Joe Talbot, I'm pleased with the way that listened to our council and talking about the developers and our community, who has called for another supermarket and increased commerce. I think Eagle Bend community is going to be happy with that outcome. I don't think any of these people here are happy. I'm not. If the revised plan uses the approved new home company, but they start building homes once the overpass construction begins, the company would front 100% of the overpass project and eventually be reimbursed. This came from Mr. Calvert back on 6/22/15.
30 seconds.
That's it? Okay. Anyway, more or less you have my feeling about this thing. I think it should be the bridge before the homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
I'd like to bring up Mark Peabody, and behind Mark is Larissa Adrian.
Hello, Planning Commission. Thank you for allowing me to speak here. I'm happy about this project. So there are some people that are. Corona has created a very solid reputation regionally for attracting high-quality projects, and the improved plan for the entitled Arantine Hills project is a great example of that success. Through its developer agreement, the city has created a working structure with the master developer of the project that will complete much-needed infrastructure like the Tahoe I-15 interchange, while also eliminating a large number of car trips, creating traffic relief in the area that truly needs it. When first entitled, the Arantine Hills project was always seen as the community's way to complete an interchange that has often earned failing grades for its ability to handle traffic. That was a different time when state and federal matching funds were readily available for infrastructure improvements. Today, those necessary funds are simply not available. With this agreement, the city will be ensuring that this promise to our community is completed decades in advance, and that where there's currently nor foreseen any identified significant funding source to fix this critical interchange and bridge within the federal state system of highway project funding. I'm hearing person after person coming up here complaining about the infrastructure, the inability to get to and from point A and point B, the shopping centers, across the Caldwell Bridge. I travel that every day myself. Not every day, but several times a week. It's a nightmare getting over that thing. This is our opportunity to have a home developer that's an award-winning home developer come into our community, fix our infrastructure, and make Corona a better place. We're a growing community, and the whole Inland Empire region is growing around us. We can be a part of it, or we can be obstructionists. So I think the best opportunity is for us to work with this company that's willing to come in here and fix the Cahalco interchange and make Corona a better place. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, Rick comes up, like to bring up Rick James.
Hello, my name is Larissa Adrian, and I am at 11526 DeSoto Loop in Temescal Valley. And I'm actually just beside myself that I just heard that, just personally. Our Cahalco Bridge is so inundated with traffic, and yes, it is true that we need to get it fixed, but paying for it in that manner is just absolutely ridiculous. We have 300 homes that want to be done first. We can't get through that bridge as it is right now. So if we have 300 houses that go up first, I can't get my kids to school as it is right now. Right now I have 2 kids that are trying, one getting to Orange County in college, another I have to try and get to the metro. The metro is supposed to alleviate the traffic on the freeway. It's supposed to help the 91, and it's not, because I can't get to it. Maine's not open, the side streets aren't open, the frontage road isn't open. I can't get to the damn thing, so how am I supposed to help alleviate the traffic? So if I can't get there, and this freeway, the bridge isn't going to help, any one house is going to put 2 cars on the road. Anybody south of Cajalco is not going to be able to get to Santiago or Centennial for school. And we have a right to get our kids to school. The kids have a right to an education. It's part of California, it's part of CNUSD. They have changed the way the schooling is going to go because they know the kids couldn't go to Temescal. They said, oh, the bridge couldn't hold it. They couldn't get there. So they were like, oh, we're going to have to change that because of the new developer and how they were going to change their way of doing their stuff. If the school's not behind it and we can't get to school, what do you plan to do? And have you asked? I haven't seen one form that said, this is how we're going to educate our kids. This is how we're going to make sure everybody's going to be okay. One accident, we're not going to be able to get down to Temescal. I haven't seen any plan Bs, any alternate routes. And what if we hit another recession? Is this bridge even going to be built on time? Is there an alternative if they don't sell those 300 homes in a reasonable amount of time? I think that's an issue that hasn't been brought up or resolved in a timely manner. Thanks.
Thank you, Larissa. I'd like to bring up Rick, and following Rick would be Cindy Morris.
Good evening. My name is Rick James. I've been a resident of Corona for 15 years, and I have 35 years experience in commercial construction. I live in the Eagle Glen project, and there are some times that it takes me a good 30 minutes just to get over that bridge coming out of Eagle Glen due to the traffic that's impacted on it now from the additional homes that have gone in, all the freeway construction that's going on the 91 now. A lot of that traffic cuts through there. So I'm all for them building that area as long as they build the bridge first. Just the additional traffic that the construction itself will bring will put an increased burden on the city of Corona and its residents, and I don't think the residents of Corona should be carrying that burden. They knew going in that that bridge was supposed to be built first when they looked at the package. So trying to finagle numbers and have the studies done by people who don't live in this area and don't drive those roads to say, oh, we don't need to do it, we need to do it. The right thing is to build that bridge first and alleviate the traffic and burden on the city of Corona and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. As Cindy comes up, I'd like to bring Lauren Prescott after Cindy. Go ahead and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Cindy Morris. I'm at 1569 Twin Oaks Circle in Corona. I've been a resident of the city of Corona since 1988. And I've enjoyed the small town feel of Corona, yet the access that we have to other cities. We've always struggled though with infrastructure, with being able to get to our freeways and our surface streets. And as we've grown, I've hoped that that would improve. And I think we have an opportunity now to take a look at continuing growth, but doing it in a smarter way. And making sure that we don't do one before the other. We need to make sure that we can get to our shopping, to our restaurants. Friday night, I live between Masters and California. I simply won't try to go down Foothill or to go down Masters because the traffic is so horrible. We stay home rather than going shopping into the restaurants. And we're getting to a point where we've lost several of our neighbors who've moved out of the area, moved into Orange County, sold their homes and left because it's too impossible. I just came from working in Orange County where I was able to do that when I moved here in 1988, all the way through the 90s. I simply couldn't do it because trying to get home between the freeway construction, the side street construction, the additional people moving in, all the high density. We've done so much high density recently, and I know we need to be a balanced community, but if we're going to do that, we need to balance the traffic, the roads, the access. So I would just ask that we consider that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, behind Lauren, I'd like to invite up Amy.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Prescott, and I'm actually with the Arantine Hills Community Outreach Team. However, personally, I live in the city of Carlsbad. As part of our outreach to the community, we also visited the businesses and the retail centers of the shops at Dos Lagos and the crossings at Corona. The retailers who have signed this petition support the Arantine Hills revised plan that will reduce the commercial space by 87%, eliminate apartments for families, and increase single-family detached homes. They are also looking forward to the long-awaited I-15 Cajalco interchange that will be paid for by the new home company and not the existing residents or businesses of Corona. I have for you a list of signatures from the businesses who signed a petition in support of the Arantine Hills project, and I've heard they are very eager to welcome new Arantine Hills families to their fine establishments. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Behind Amy coming up. Behind Amy, I'd like to do is Janine Watson. I'm butchering here. Janie Watson? Jan Lee. Okay. Apologize.
Hi, my name is Amy Kinney, and I have a mailing address of 520 Railroad Street here in Corona. I am the current chair of the Riverside County Trails Committee, and I am just going to speak on the issue with the trail. I want to let you know that I think that you're going to be on the right side of history by having this trail be modified and have it be public access. I'm very grateful for all the hard work. I know Nelson did a lot of hard work on this as well. And I just wanted to make sure to show my support for the change of the trail. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Jan Lee. And behind Jan Lee, I'd like to invite Bobby Spiegel.
Good evening. Jan Lee Watson, 23043 Sunrose Street, Temescal Valley. I'm really glad to hear New Homes say they were going to add 100 feet of buffer on the plateau bluff above the freeway that sits right at the border of the unincorporated area because the area plan shows little to no buffer at all. So I don't know how that 100 feet is going to fall, but it's very welcome. It's also welcomed that New Home reduced the density from high density to medium density on area plan 14 on the bluff. I even hate to ask this, but those people who live south in the estate homes, they have animals, and those animals are sometimes exceedingly noisy. Maybe we should take the density up on the bluff to low density so you have fewer people living up there to be disturbed by the noises, which they certainly will be. On to the interchange. When New Home Company purchased the development from Bluestone, they were very well aware of the conditions of the development and those placed by the city. They made the investment. Fast forward to today. The plan, in the agreement, it calls for 308 homes to be built prior to the bridge improvements. I'd like to suggest, let them build 308 homes. Let them build as many homes as they want. Give them the building permits. Just do not issue any occupancy certificates until the bridge is complete. I'm being totally serious because as I understand it, the bridge pre-planning, engineering, and design, we're way into that. So this bridge could go up rather quickly. So let the homes be built. Let them even be sold with you have to wait a couple months to get into it. But it's the perfect solution. They build the homes, the bridge gets built, the homes are occupied. And that would make everybody happy, pretty easy peasy, except maybe New Home Company. but it was their investment. It was their risk when they made that investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Bobby would like to come up, and following Bobby, I'd like to bring up Jeff Cravens.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to share tonight. Bobby Spiegel, Corona Chamber of Commerce, 904 East 6th Street, Corona, California. The city has been an excellent advocate throughout the process to maintain original vision and completed infrastructure like the Cajalpa Bridge, accompanying the development of a great neighborhood area and shopping. To finish the promise, it takes a great partner and organization. Throughout the last year, I've met the people from New Home Company, and they have proven that they are very committed to this business area and to the community of Corona. They've reached out to us, and I understand that they have also been speaking to over 125 businesses in the area, including the community, in the process of making this the best opportunity for Corona. New Home has become and will remain a stakeholder in the community as a partner going forward, and the city development agreement is a perfect part for the for the commitment and the ability to complete this project. I can only ask that you guys would really consider moving forward with the proposed plan as presented tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. After Jeff Crave, bring up Patty. Joe. If I didn't butcher
Partner going forward in the city development agreement is a perfect part for the for the commitment and the ability to complete this project. I can only ask that you guys would really consider moving forward with the proposed plan as presented tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. After Jeff Crave, bring up Patty. Joe. If I didn't butcher it.
My name is Jeff Craven, I live at 8335 Glen Road, Corona. I'm a 2-year resident. I moved to the area I live in to get away from a lot of what I'm seeing here. Where I lived, I had a 1-acre parcel in Orange County. They came in and they shoved little bitty homes all around our homes. Really killed our value. Now, New Home has decreased the density. I would like to see that brought up a little bit bigger to help us retain, because we're all on 5-acre parcels where we live. We would like to keep more of our lifestyle the way it is. We're kind of rural. We go down rough, bumpy roads, but that's where we want to live. We have our horses. I have my granddaughter, and to get her to school at El Cerrito, if I don't leave at 7, she's in at lunchtime because of the traffic to get there. I know that there was the one lady from Riverside County talking about, nobody's talked to them about that because the artillery roads are good. I'm not going to pound on the bridge because that's neither here nor there. I would suggest maybe, you know as well as I do, home markets can come and go. I hate to see 299 of them in and then the markets fall out again. We've all lived through it. I work in construction just like these guys do. It's an up and down hill ride all the way. Just ask for the city to help us maintain our rural life. I know that New Home is trying to help with the trails. We need the access to the Bedford Wash so we can ride our horses to the mountains. We like to do those kind of things. I think they're trying to get there and get us access as the lady, 2 people in front. We just want to keep our rural lifetime, and you guys do have a hard job to keep the traffic moving.
Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to bring up Patty, and after Patty is Joe Morgan. And go ahead and state your name and address again, but you wrote on additional comments, speak about issues that may not be considered.
I didn't know, I got here late, so I missed a lot of the speakers. That's all.
Okay, so you're basically on your item D1, so we're still on the same.
Yeah, same topic that I read late. I'm a little not used to speaking in public, so bear with me. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'd like to ask the council to realize that Corona has limited through streets. All of the through streets lead to Cajalco Bridge, somehow or another. If you look at a map, and I brought maps if you'd like to see them. The Cajalco Bridge allows Corona and other community members to get to their destinations. The commuters exit the 91 and the 15 freeways, then travel through the Corona streets to avoid the Corona crawl. Many are headed to the Cajalco Bridge. I agree with all the other speakers that suggested the bridge needs to be done first. I fully agree with that. In 2013 and 2014, the Riverside County received, and we live in the Riverside County, received an F score for poor air quality by the American Lung Association. In 2015, the American Lung Association rated Riverside County number 5 out of the top 25 for poor air quality. They are at risk, and we are at risk with this air, and with the drought, those numbers increase, for obvious reasons. We and our new neighbors, the Arantine Hills, soon-to-be neighbors, should all be breathing the best possible air available to us. So we need to get people through the streets as quickly as possible, not parked on any street or any bridge or any freeway. I asked the city of Corona to consider my idea. Have you considered, I didn't see anything in any of the paperwork, busing in the contractors and subcontractors to minimize the traffic flow through our community? Example, you have a train station. Get them to meet at the train station, have the builder provide buses, and get all the workers to the project. That would help immensely, and I don't think it's been considered, and I'd like you to consider that. That is it. Thank you. And I think I forgot to say where I live. I live in Eagle Glen at 4184 Riviera.
Thank you, Patty. Behind Joe is Bill Blankenship.
Okay, Joe Morgan, 206 Rent. So as I read the agreement, at 50% bridge completion, there are 1,300 homes that will be issued permits and certificates of occupancy. They will be done at 50%. The certificates of occupancy means people can move in, correct?
We'll have staff address that after.
Yeah, okay, because you won't. So you can actually address that, but you won't. So they'll be done. They'll be finished. 1,300 homes will be done at 50% bridge completion, which means the bridge is not going to be done. 1,300 homes. Just let that sink into everybody. 1,300 homes will be done. Only the last little bit will be permitted at 95%. So this is completely unreasonable. It's completely unreasonable. It's completely just throwing out the other agreement. All the concerns that everybody had in the past, just tossing it out and ignoring it. The bit about the water use, I heard the same magical thinking at the Skyline presentation a couple weeks ago, where, oh, well, our water use is actually going to go down with building all these houses. We're actually going to be using less. You know, it reminds me of Married with Children, when Peg Bundy used to go buy shoes and she got a $50 discount, so she figured that the more shoes she got, you just add up the $50 and she was really making money by buying shoes. So it's kind of the same thing that you guys keep doing, the same little magical thinking. We're going to be using more. You don't build 1,800 homes and then use less water, or only use just a slight bit more. You're comparing it to some magical standard, what we could use. You're taking a budget for 2010, you're taking data from 2010 when we're in the middle of a drought, Now, I know there's other state concerns and everything. I know this isn't none of this actual grounded information really has any bearing on you guys, because you guys are all operating in the theoretical, just like with the traffic. But the other thing that hasn't been brought into is sometime next year, the 91 is supposed to be done, and the 15 project will commence. So at the same time that the 15 freeway will be torn asunder and being molested heavily by RCTC. Now, we see how well they manage their project, so I'm sure it won't be any kind of problem going on with that project. You guys are going to be doing this bridge at the same time, which will be to varying degrees of passable. Meanwhile, 1,300 homes will be done. They're going to get done with these houses a long time before that bridge is done, and you know it. So the other thing about the noticing, you're noticing things in a newspaper. I talked to the clerk about the noticing. I realized why you have to put it in the Sentinel. It's not your choice, but you shouldn't be counting on a newspaper for proper noticing. This is the 21st century. Nobody reads newspapers, especially the Sentinel. You should be putting it in prominent places where people can see it, and so you would actually get public notice instead of pretending that you're noticing it by following the letter of the law instead of the intent. You need to, if you want the public to be noticed, put it in a place where people will notice it. On the front page of the website where it's easy to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Let's bring up Bill.
Well, I'm not Bill.
I was gonna say.
Bill Blankenship is CEO of the Building Industry Association Riverside Chapter, and my name is Diane Gaynor. And Mr. Blankenship is unable to be here this evening due to a schedule conflict. He asked if I would very quickly. I congratulate the City of Corona on a great achievement and an even brighter future. This is signed Bill Blankenship, CEO, Riverside Chapter, Building Industry Association. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. What we're going to do is take a break right now. We're going to close the public hearing, and then we have time to staff to respond back to the questions. Okay, I appreciate everybody coming back and being quiet. What we're doing right now is, since we closed public hearing, we're going to bring it back. We're going to have staff respond back to some of the questions. We also, our planning commissioners will ask some additional questions, but Joanne, you want to go ahead and start off and respond to some of those questions, please?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and hit on a couple of things, and then I am going to defer to the appropriate staff to elaborate on some of the things that came up this evening, as this has been a very collaborative process with many of the departments that are here tonight. First of all, I do want to talk with respect to the bridge and the widening and the infrastructure improvements. As it's been thoroughly explained in the presentation this evening, and I believe everybody is aware of what's been explained, yes, the city is not denying that when this project was originally approved in 2012, the requirement at that time was that the bridge improvements needed to be done. And that was based on that land use plan. What you're seeing here today is a revision in that land use plan. And whenever we do a revised land use plan, we have to go back and thoroughly analyze it to see what changes there are from the original plan. And as part of that, it was the traffic analysis. And that traffic analysis did divulge some new information as to where there could be construction on this site up to a certain point with a certain number of residential dwelling units before there would be an impact to the Cahalico Bridge. And that's that 308 residential dwelling units that you keep hearing about. So technically, they can build on this site with this new plan up to 308 residential units. This developer is only responsible for 32.5% of the fair share cost towards the widening of those improvements on the bridge. What they have decided to do, they actually came to us with this proposal, and they have decided to advance the remaining 67% that is currently not funded. As you know, when it comes to development, all of infrastructure with development is funded by developers. It is not funded by the city. The city either requires the developer to construct these improvements, or over time we collect fair share payments. And then when we have all the money at 100%, at some point in the future we build that improvement. What we are being given here today is that we are being given an opportunity to build something quicker than originally anticipated. And we normally do not get this. This is a very unique situation. So they're willing to advance those funds now rather than us wait several years down the road. The only way we would get additional funding for the bridge is if more development were to transpire in this area and over time we continue to collect portions of fair share, or if there's some opportunity through state or federal funding. We don't believe that is going to be the case anytime soon. So we are actually having the funds advanced to us by a private developer. There is no amortization period on this funding. This is completely funded by the developer over time. If there's reimbursements from other developments, they will pay into that and give him reimbursements back. If there's reimbursements through the TUMP funding, then those reimbursements will be given to them for a certain period of time. But the city is not responsible in terms of city funds giving them any reimbursements. That's being done by other parties, so I wanted to make that very clear. But the only way that you're ever going to get infrastructure built in this town is through the participation with these developments, and that's how it works. It's never us doling out the money, it's us collecting that money over a period of time, and that's exactly what is happening here. What I would like Nelson to do is go over the timing of the Calico Bridge improvements based on what we have been talking about for over the last year. He can go over the timing and how that's being worked out. As for the development agreement is a two-way street. It's not that we just take everything one way. We have to participate back. So in exchange for the developer providing the entire funding, they have asked us, well, in exchange for that, we will want additional residential building permits if we ever get there. The agreement simply states that once they start construction and the funding is put forth to the city at 100%, and I do want to clarify this, we get 100% funding for this bridge prior to the issuance of the first building permit. So the city has that security in place at the very first building permit. The 600 units that you talk about once construction commences, that means that's what they get additionally. It doesn't mean that they're going to be there. It just means that they get that additionally. And then at that 50% mark, it just means they get additional units if they ever hit that mark. Developers are not going to build homes if there's no one there to buy them. As we've seen throughout Corona, they get phased in over time, and I do believe that will be the same situation in Arantine Hills as it was in Eagle Glen. They get phased in over time. So when you have the first 308 units being built, we do believe that that bridge will be under construction. So what I'd like to do is have Nelson elaborate on that a little bit.
Thank you, John.
Yes, I'll talk about the timing of the bridge and also address a couple questions that were brought up about the bridge. First of all, the bridge is scheduled right now to start in July 2017. That's what the way everything's going right now. And it's also, the developer's been advancing some payments. In fact, recently, one of the things they did, they paid for the constructability review. That was just over $100,000. It's because the contract or developer's putting this money into the game, we can keep the project moving and get it approved by Caltrans. So I said it's going to start in July 2017. It's going to take about 24 months to build a bridge. That means the bridge itself will be done about June of 2019. One of the questions they brought up too is what happened with the crossings in Dos Lagos? What did they do towards the bridge? We did collect money from those two developments to pay for the bridge. That money has been used to get us this far. It's to pay for design, to get it to the point, and also start getting some of the right-of-way acquisition so we can get the bridge ready to start construction. There was an issue comment about what rate is going to be paying back on this one. Joanne touched on that. There is no interest rate. The developer is going to be fronting all the money on this bridge up front. They may get reimbursed as future development comes out and starts paying towards their fare towards the bridge. But I should point out there's a cap on this too. It's only over the next 15 years. So if the developer don't come back in, the developer may not recover all the money they're going to pay towards this bridge. There was a comment about build a bridge before homes. We are on track right now to start building this bridge before they start building homes out there. And that's because the developer is willing to pay for us to keep this project moving forward. So we're getting the constructability of design done, we're getting the right-of-way done, we're getting all this stuff done, getting that bridge ready to advertise for construction before the developers even start building any homes out there. And then there's one thing that Joanne mentioned too, is before they even get a permit, they're going to provide a bond for the bridge. So there was a comment made that they're going to build 306 homes and stop working and we'll never get the bridge. That's not going to happen. Once we get the money for the contract and we award the contract for the construction of the bridge, it starts moving forward and we got 2 years to build the bridge, regardless if this developer builds any more homes or not. And that takes me to the last comment about the 1,300 homes we get done and the bridge will be 50% done. Once we start building on this bridge, it's going to take 2 years to get it going. This is going to be a continuous process. The developer is very unlikely to build homes fast enough to keep up with the bridge. So right now we're on track where he might get 308 homes built, and the bridge is going to be well under construction. He might get a couple homes out there while the bridge is being constructed, but very unlikely he's going to get them all built and occupied before the bridge is complete. And that completes all the questions I have.
Thank you, Nelson.
Generated by the development is overlaid on existing traffic flows and projected out into the future over time. And communities like this, we have a lot of experience working with them on traffic mitigation programs and so forth. And we've seen over the years that, again, they move in phases and responding to market conditions and so forth. We try to identify a level where the city and county and Caltrans level of service standards would be exceeded in the near term. And working with, again, loading traffic on top of existing conditions and so forth, we ended up with that number of 308 units, where we're basically saying is if you exceed that number without improvements to that interchange, that level of service standards are being exceeded. It's our understanding in this ongoing process of working through this with the city that therefore that's been identified as a trigger point, but full funding is being presented in this particular case. And I can tell you, I've been in this business 40 years. I can't think of another example where a developer is putting up all of the funding for this major of a capital project basically up front while they go about the process of building their first phase, committing to the funding for the entire interchange project. But it's a rather extensive technical process that we've been through. Do readily acknowledge the resident concerns here. We do have a congested situation in the interchange area. That's why this extremely unusual level of mitigation is being proposed that accelerates the ability to get the interchange built.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any questions?
There was a comment made by someone in the audience regarding trips to the hospital and getting aid. And I don't know if someone from the fire department or police is here to talk to residents about that.
I can't speak to that instance specifically. I know he did bring up having a Knox lock on the gate, and that is not a requirement of this project. They can fully stand on their own with the access to the city side of it. I can't speak to the CAL FIRE side of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and bring it back.
Are we doing it one by one or at this point?
Yeah. Okay, what we're going to do is bring it back to the commission. We're going to be voting individually on each of the items.
Okay, I'd like to move on item D1, recommended action that the Planning and Housing Commission review and receive public comment on the draft supplemental environment impact report, direct staff and consultants prepare the final supplemental EIR.
All set.
Okay, motion passed on D1. Let's move on to item D2. Turn your mic on. Excuse me, I sometimes can't hear myself. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning and Housing Commission recommend approval of GPA 15-001 based on the findings contained in the staff report and the adopted resolution 2467 granting GPA 15001 as part of the cycle 3 of the general plan amendment for 2016.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I'd like to bring up item D3.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make a motion that the Planning and Housing Commission recommend approval of SPA 15-002 to the City Council based on the findings contained in the staff report and the conditions of approval.
Seconded.
Okay, please vote. Thank you. We're going to move on to D4. Can you track that?
I'll move D4, Mr. Chairman, that the Planning and Housing Commission recommend approval of PPM 36294R to the City Council based on the findings contained in the staff report and conditions of approval.
Second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Okay, so it's passed. Item D5.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning and Housing Commission recommend approval of DA 15-001 to the City Council based on the findings contained in the staff report.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. All matters have passed. Let's move on to DE, written communications. Secretary, have you received any so far? Nothing received. Does any planning housing commissioners have any matter to discuss? Okay, no one from the planning commission. We'll go ahead and adjourn the planning commission until May 9th. So adjourn the meeting.